Oh, good afternoon. Oh, how are you today? I decided to take a chunk out of my leg. It was a fun day. Oh, there it is. There's the nice bandage. You can see the duct tape. I duct taped it because the gauze tape would not hold it, but maybe later I'll pull a picture, I'll take the band-aid off or whatever you can see. So I ride the electric unicycle, and we've been doing some backwards maneuvers. And we're riding to the run. We have a group run that we do every Saturday. And we're doing a backwards loop. And me and Tom got a little close together, so we both went opposite directions and then leveled off. And then we came back, and I was wobbly, and I lost control of the thing. So I tried slowing it down and then stepping off to burn off the momentum, which is my usual go-to on the backwards, is I'll step off and I'll pull it around me to burn the momentum off. But when I stepped off, it was going faster. And I hopped to change position, and it went faster. And I'm like, well, this is not going to be working for me. So it actually ended up on like the second or third hop to change it, to try to get I don't know if I was trying to slow it down or just get my foot off the thing at some point, because your feet are kind of locked into it, except for the one that I stepped off with. So I'm trying to get the other foot out of it and just let it go. But the pedals that you stand on, they're made of metal. They're either cast aluminum coated or they're cast iron. I'm not really sure, but they're pretty solid metallic things. The wheel's 80 pounds and going 5 or 8 miles an hour. I don't think it was that fast, but it's a big thing, moving quickly enough. And my shin bone is not strong enough to tolerate that. So it hit me, and then it didn't hit me just long enough to bounce off, but it scraped the crap out of the shin. And my pedals, have always been concerned about my pedals, mine in particular, because my pedals are razor freaking sharp, and I'm always worried that they're going to cut my Achilles or something if I step off. So that's the only downside about my particular wheel. All wheels have rough pedals, but I think mine in particular has some very sharp pedals. Because on the one that I was training on, the pedals were aluminum, but they had a plastic shell. That plastic shell would still tear you out, but I got torn up on those. I stepped off of it doing something, and the pedal went up under the shin guard and just scraped the shin. In this case, I wasn't wearing any armor. Today, I wasn't wearing any armor. On slow rides, on slow rides, I have not been wearing armor. So if I'm under 15 miles an hour-ish, I normally don't wear it. Not always the best idea. I always yell at Tom for not wearing his armor. When I was learning, I was like, you gotta wear your armor, because he kept screwing himself up. And now I got into the habit of, if I'm slow enough, I'm usually okay. Which is true. If I'm slow enough and I crash, I can just roll off the thing more often than not. And I did get off the wheel, but not before it hit me. So, But had I been wearing shin guards on this particular occasion, the shin guards would have done their job, because it was slow enough. But it's been so hot. It's hard to wear the armor when it's so hot, and it's cumbersome to put it on and off. So anyway, I got sliced. Popping on this afternoon to try to get some work done on the intro for Wielders. So let me jump to here and get Maya rolling. So I've been experimenting with how I want this to work. I've not really rigged a book with more than one movable page. Like having a cover page and having maybe one or two internal pages. But doing a book with multiple internal pages is challenging. And there's more than one way to do this. There's always more than one way to do it. But the way that I've experimented with it for this one is, so I built this page, front and back, and this is actually 2 pages because a plane only has one side. I could use a cube, but I don't need that much geometry. I just need a plane front and back. So here's my front, here's my back. And then I have a simple rig, or a simple joint chain. And what I've been setting up on this one is a spline curve. So where are my CVs? There's my spline handle, there's my control points. So for my control points, that allows me to warp the pages. So I can get that bend. And then what you're seeing is, because the 2 pages overlap, you're seeing the back side of the other page. But when this renders, like if I turn the other side of the back side of a face doesn't render. Like in my, you can have it render. So like if I take this and I render from here, you can see that's not going to show up. And then if I do that on this side, same deal, those should not show up. Although I don't get anything on this side because there's no light. So this seems like it's going to work for what I need, but I do need to rig another spline here and here. I need to create a controller to allow me to turn the page, and some control handles to help me with these clusters here. So I'll probably do a master control that allows me to turn all of these as a group without distortion. So like from here, this little swing out, but I would also need this one up here to be able to swing. The main skeletal group here controls these. Now another way I could do it would be using blend shapes or morph targets, depending on what system you're using. I don't know which is going to be the best. I think this gives me more direct control over the behavior, but this is why a lot of these production things take forever, because I don't always know how I want to implement a thing and how much control I want. So what I'm going to do at this point is kind of break this apart and make multiple pages, line them up, and then rig them all separately. So I'm going to do this, do a save as. Where are you living? Did I put you in the TGC folder? I think I did, but let me just do this. Okay, so it's living in the main, in this folder. So rig, we'll do 0, 1. That way I can go back and mess with it. Alright, so I need to disable the rig on this. Rigging, we'll just unbind. And delete the history, remove joint colors. We can hide the skeleton, we don't need this. And I don't need these. So I should just have the pages, and what I need to do, so here's page 1. I need to do, I'm going to do 6 pages. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right now they're all on top of each other, but I need to change that. So from here, here's page 1. Page 2 needs to go out just a little bit. So since I'm doing 6 pages, Maybe I should do 7. Have a central page. So 7 will be dead center. Page 1, 2, and 3 I'll do forward, and page 4, 5, and 6 I'll do behind. So 1, 2, and 3, I'll move those out this way. 4, 5, and 6, I'll move out that way. Now how far out, I don't really know. Guess I'll move you down. And what I need for each page is the vertices. So I'm making the spine of a comic book, which kind of has this little shape to it. So I'm creating that. But I want to get all the positions where I want them to be. So 2 will come out a little bit, and I can't really see these because this side of a plane is usually blank. Let me go wireframe. Alright, page 1 is here. Now these borders are extra thick because the borders are creased. They're creased so the page doesn't go round, become a ball, basically, a circle whenever I smooth it. It's just one of those little tricks. Okay. So that one's 0, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3. And then 4 should be closer, 5 here-ish, 6-ish. Okay. Make sure I'm working with the groups. So page 3, from Z, let's do 0.1. About a little bit farther up. I don't want the pages to touch, but like that would probably be good. Although these are spaced out quite a bit. Maybe I don't need to space this far. Because if I allow them to be directly on top of each other, hold on, let me go ahead and nuke all these. I'll set this back to 0. If I let this and this be right on top of each other, it's just hard to see because one of them is going to render before the other. There's a drawing order, but I should be able to render. Yeah, I'm getting bleed through when I do it directly on top. Of course, I can always animate the other side of the page being off if that becomes an issue. I had them 0.01 away from each other. Yeah. But this would be easier to work with. I would just turn off the page I don't need. So for example, I could hide that page when I render. Or I can hide this page. Is that one hidden? You can see this is backwards. It actually shouldn't render from that side. But I think I'm going to try doing it that way. It's just not pretty. Okay. So from page 1, I guess page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 1, 2, and 3, we'll move those up. 4, 5, and 6, we'll move those back. And again, it's going to be how far back, how far forward do I want these to be? It needs to be enough to give the impression of like of volume, of thickness. It is weird that I'm not getting any reading on Z. I should have something here. This should not be empty. Unless I'm moving the individual pages. I move the individual pages, I think. No, that can't be. I moved the group. This has a physical offset, but this one does not. That one does. These do. That one's at 0. How are you not something else? This has to have a change. Okay, that's weird. It's not zeroed there. 0 should be here. I get something out here. This is so close to 0, it's just not rendering it. It's not giving me a value. Well, that's not cool. How am I supposed to know what that value is going to be? I mean, I can try copying it, but I think that's going to be... Let me paste it in on number 2. Yeah, that gave me exactly 0. So I think it's physically moving, it's just rounding to a value that I just can't see. So 0.001 maybe. That's way over here. 0.0001 is there. Okay. So for 4, I'll do a negative 0.000, 4 zeros and a 1. How about negative 0.123? Okay, so 3 zeros and a 1. So 2, let's do negative 0.0002. Oh, I want to be positive. 0.002. That should be right ahead of this one, right? 3 and then 1. Zero 0.0003. 4 is there. 5 minus 0.0002. 6 minus 0.0003. Okay, I'm going to grab all the pages. I go to vertex selection, and then I'm going to use soft select and bend these to the center. So B for soft select. Let me take a look at my selection here. I think that would be good. But you can see that I can't really tell the thickness of the comic, so I may be too close together. Alright, so I'll go back to the drawing board and do my spacing again. 0.15. And then minus 0.15. That might work. Okay. So 3 is here. 2 would be 0.10, and then 3 would be 0.05. So 4 is 1.5, 5 is minus 0.1, 6 will do minus 0.05. Does that give me a thicker? Again, hard to tell with only the one comic rendering, but I think it's, or only one page rendering. I think this is good here. Alright. Well, that's bizarre. So I chose soft slate because it has a tendency to, it allows you to move things relative to each other, but I think my radius is just too high. I am, yeah. I need to get the book rendered so that I can do a an opening trailer with the comic kind of the pages opening and doing like a little flip book. I may not use the actual comic images, but I would need to have something there to render. And you're seeing them like blotchy like that because there's 2 pages on top of each other. There's a front and back for each one. So let me go ahead and just grab all of the... well, thank you. How's your Saturday going? So let me get all of the back images real quick. And I can just hide those. And you can see like... What's up, Alf? Yeah, so there's that. Alright, so now the trick is how do I want to handle the pages turning? I can make it one object, and then I can manually flip each page. Thank you. Or I can put a skeleton in there with joints for each page. Although that's not as nice to control. It's nicer to have sliders. So I can do a page 1 opener, page 2 opener, page 3 opener. So let me try doing it using blend shapes. If I do a blend shape set up. I'll have to change it from this to something else. So let me duplicate the pages and I'll unparent them. I'll turn these ones off. This is slightly inconvenient because it's going to be harder to get a hold of each page, but if I treat this all as one object, and get this page, let's clean the history. Let's do the shapes editor. Where are you at? Rendering, animation, shape editor. Let's create a new blend. This will be and let's add how do I want to do it? I think I can just add a target and do edit. Let's do a page 1. Get vertex selection. Let's try. I'm going to clear off this group here. Do that, I should get that one page. Alright. Here's the select inverse. Well, I need to do no, I'll do it this way. So I'll get this one. That will break when I try to do that. I was going to move the pivot on the shape here. This doesn't usually play nice when you do this. A lot of times this breaks things. But I'm going to peel this one off. Let's do it a 9. Let's do actually a 180 turn. Okay. And then this is the back page. Pretty sure this one. And we'll 180 that one. Let me go to the blend shapes. I'll turn off the edits. Let's see if that... Okay. So it's not recording that as a swing out, so I need to add a helper. So add an in-between target. Oh, I have to go to object mode here. Did that not go? What is my output log telling me? The in-between target's maximum influence weighted must not be equal to 1. Oh, I see. Let's do... We'll put the page at about... maybe what, 30, 60, 90. Let's do point. I guess let's do 0.3. Okay, so at 0.3. I'm going to hide all the other pages. I hope that doesn't bake that way, but I'll find out if it does. So we'll hide this one, that one. Next, I'll keep one page up so that I can adjust these. So let's get vertex selection. Oops. So the pivot's way over here. I'll need to center the pivot for... What a jerk. Well, that got messed up. Basically, I have to set the pivot now for each time I want to move it. That's an annoying thing once you move the pivot of a component. Then all future selections of that pivot are relative. Gerson Boom? Is that like a code name? Okay. That's somebody's real name. I'm not sure who that is. No. I suppose I could look him up. So what is it about? Is he missing a hand? Oh, is it a Deltarune character? Yeah, I've never played it. Alright, so let's see if we can get this to work. So I'm going to hit there. So to that point works. Okay. So 0.3, it's here. I need another in between, so let's go to point. It was worth a shot. Yeah. So what are you guys doing on here on a Saturday? You're indoors. I mean, I get to be indoors because I'm old, but how come you guys are indoors? I think what I'll do is I'll make this into quarters. So let me change the value here. Just hanging out. Let me make that 0.25. Am I losing shape? Okay. And then I'll make the next one at 0.5. So 0.5 will be halfway. But I gotta make sure that this, let me get my edit on. So if the 0 position's here, we'll do that as the quarter position. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Leave that as the quarter position. And let's do the next one at half. So 0.5 and 0.5. Let's make sure that, oh, I'm silly. This one needs to go to 0.5. And I have to add an in between. And this is going to be 0.5, and that is recording. So you can see this is going to be a bit tedious because I have to do this for every page. Because I want to have individual control over each page. So I need to do it for every page. I'm worried about the page looking like it's going to stretch, which is what I want to avoid. Yeah, I'm not getting a nice even pop here. I guess I'll just line it up visually as best I can. So is Delta Rune the next game I have to stream? Is that what's going to happen? Will I cry as bad in Delta Rune as I do in Hollow Knight? I could stream some Mortal Kombat 1. I haven't played in a while. I think last time I streamed I was playing around with Reptile. It's hit or miss. Hit or miss on quality, or hit or miss on whether or not you're going to hate it and like scream at it. Or are you just talking about like the user experience? Okay. So that's the 50% rotation. If I undo here, it's shrinking in between them though. Yeah, so that's not going to be a viable option. So I'm going to go back, I'm going to go ahead and just delete these off. I would need a lot of in-betweens, and I'm not going to do that. So let's... The game itself is phenomenal. Good to know. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop out and don't save. And then I'm going to go back in. I just want to make sure that when I select a point that it is indeed the point. Okay. All right. You can reset the tool. I just wanted to do it that way. And then we're on this. So blend shapes will not work. Well, they won't work for the time that I'm willing to put into it. So then where's my skeleton? All right. So skeleton, we go ahead and group that. This is going to be page. I guess page 1's skeleton. Well, no. Page 7 is the center, so I'll do page 7. And then in here, I'll prefix the skeleton. Let's grab all this. Let's modify. Do a prefix, and we'll do. I'll do page 7 underscore. That way when I look at the skeletons, I know which one's which. Because page 7 skeleton is the one that is going to be center right down the line. And I'll grab all of the joints here, and I'll just do it through the menu. And let's drop the radius down to, I don't know, what's going to be a good size per page? Just so they're not in the way. 0.1. We'll get some overlap at 0.1, 0.05. 0.5 looks good. That won't be too much in the way. A little bit of overlap, but with the controls I should be alright. Alright. Okay, that one's straight down the middle. I'll duplicate that. Let's make this, I'll do page 1, and I'll update the prefix on these. Modify, search and replace, P7 with P1. So, there we go. Alright, and I can hide page 7 skeleton. And we can hide all other pages. Let's get the page 1 skeleton. This is the root. So middle, top, bottom. Let's open these. Okay. So this, let's go ahead and snap these to their joints. Before that, I gotta snap its parent. We'll move that to here. I want that relative position. Hold on. Page 1, we get its main anchor. Oops. Alright. Did I... Wait a second. Did I break my hierarchy? Hold on a second. Maybe I deleted the joint. No, I do it. Alright. That's why I have backups. Let me make this... let's hide the page. page 1. Oh, I see what I did. This is no longer bound, right? Yeah, there's no skin cluster on it. It still has the curve, though. So I'm going to clear all history on that. Let me get rid of the IK handle. The effector should be on. Is this still locked? Look, it's a giant E. Look at that. The curve I'm going to keep because I'm going to have to update the curves. If I decide to use the spline setup, I may not, because I may just do it manually. Alright, so that's page 7 skeleton, there's page 7 root. Oh, I was silly. I lost sight of my own hierarchy. Okay. I thought I lost it earlier. I was just being dumb. And we'll do this as 1. I make mistakes all the time. You just don't get to see them. Alright, let's change that back. 7-1. Yes. Hide that one. And where is my page 1? Page 1. Alright, got that anchor for that. Let's take this one, next one up. Actually, I'll do all 3 of those at the same time. That should be relative to its vertex. I just can't tell because of the highlighting. Any deviation? Looks like these ones are going to be forward or straight. I can check the page here. Now I am building this with a bend in it intentionally because I want the shape of the book to start out, and I'll just deal with having that unbend. With it being just a plane, it's less work, so that should be fine. Okay, I'll just put this in. Actually, I'll leave it where it's at. Now let's do page 2. We'll hide page 1. page 1, bring up page 2. These I'll swap out. Change page 1 to page 2. Okay. Oops. And those should all be straight from there. Hide that. Hide page 2, page 3. Let's make a page 3. Modify. I'll get my search. Let's make page 2 to page 3. Place that out. I was trying to frame up on it, but it just framed up on the whole hierarchy. Page 3 should be there. Yeah, so I'm making, this will be the intro video. So the comic is going to fall and land on the ground, but the ground's going to be the background color of whatever I'm going to use. It doesn't matter. But it's going to land, and then it's going to land backwards and then flip forward. And when the pages are done flipping, it'll flip to the logo. So like, I don't actually have to have the comic book pages rendered on there, but I think I'm going to do the comic book pages flipping backwards a little bit, and then on the last page that just be the logo, and then that'll fade out to, you know, Bruce Books, you know. At least that's what I have in my head. Whether or not it's going to turn out that way, it's always a thing. And then after that brief intro, it'll cut to me and Patrick talking about, you know, what the story is and what the Kickstarter goals are. I think Kickstarter said that having a video gives you an 80% better chance of success. So, I mean, I've seen comics do it without it, but nobody knows who I am, so it's a lot harder as an unknown to get recognition. So, just one of those things. And I've got a couple books out, and I've got, between each book, maybe 1,500 readers. Well, 1,500 readers per book, which gives me about 3,000 people who know who I am, but in the scheme of things, nobody really knows who I am. You know, if you say Stephen King, everybody knows who Stephen King is. If you say, you know, Bruce R.F., they're like, who the heck's that? All Stephen King has to do is tweet, "I'm putting out a new book," and everybody knows about it. So it'll take time. All right, where's the next? I'm on page 4, correct? Yeah. Just did page 3, and I just updated page 4. Okay. Page 4 is on, page 4 is up here. So this is going to go to there. Whoops. Is page 3 still on? Page 3 is still on, okay. Page 4 skeleton. And then here, here, and here. I think I'm good there. Five. And realistically, I probably don't even need to select all. I should just be able to select one. These are all within the same hierarchy, so I should just be just fine to do this. Yeah, just the one's good. Right, yeah, it puts a face to a name. It makes whoever you're investing in more real, and kind of humanizes the project. It's not just a project. There's somebody behind it. A lot of the people who are investing money, they're investing money in the creator. They're not necessarily investing money in the project. So, like I have a bunch of Kickstarters that I've supported because I want to back the creator. I don't necessarily care about the project. So I know that from my own personal experience as a supporter. This one. 3. And I'll duplicate that. Hide this one. Turn on number 6. Update that. Oh, old habits. I know I don't have to select all of them. Page 6, and then, or no, page 5, and page 6. So page 5 still there, page 5 is still there. We'll hide page 5. That bothers me. Hold on a second. Page 7 should be here. Page 6. Page 5. Page 4. I think I did this side backwards. Not that it matters. The rigging's all the same. But the naming. So I'll just rename them so that they're correct order. Okay. Alright, let's turn off 5 and 7. We're still on page 6. What other page is on? Page 5 is off, right? Now there's page 5, page 4 is on. There we go. Got lost in my own stuff. And we'll open that. I already named everything. Let's get this. I think at about 3 o'clock I'll do some Hollow Knight. But I do want to test to see how the book is gonna, how the pages are gonna fan out when I turn them. So there we go. So skeleton, and I will put them in order. So the way I have it laid out is 7 being the center, but it's fine. And 1, 2, 3. So let's check my order of operations here. So page 1, page 2, page 3. Yep, and then page 6, page 5, page 4. So the way that I want that to be is this should be yeah, I mean, it's going to be messed up no matter which order I put it in. If I did 4, it won't let me do 2 4s, so, but nearest to, yeah, nearest would be 4, and then the next one out would be 5. The last one out would be 6. And that'll be 4, and then I'll have to rename the hierarchies. So that's 6, change it to 4. And that should get everybody inside it, yeah. And then 4 should be 6. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7. Although really, I should make it to where 4 is in the middle. It's like, which way are you going? I don't know. I may redo my hierarchy at some point. It is kind of a confusing hierarchy, isn't it? It made sense in my brain when I started, but the more I do this and the more tired I get, I'm like, well, that's a stupid arrangement. But it's fine. As long as the skeletons are being pinned to the correct page, it should be okay. So 1, 2, 3, and then yeah, I really should do 4, 5, 6, 7. Would make the most sense, right? So yeah, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm gonna break this. I'll make that 7. I'll move you down this way. And then 7, I'll make 4. So So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, since I can't have the same number twice, I have to do it this way. So 5, 6, 7. Let's check the hierarchy on the skeletons. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, I'll have to flip these. So 7 will be 4, and 4, 5, 6. Okay, 7 is going to be 4. It won't let me change it. 7 will be 4. 4 will be 5. 5 will be 6. And 6 will be 7. Crap. Naming conventions matter. I'm not OCD, I don't know what you're talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then I should name the hierarchies that are in them, because, of course, I had to flip them around again. This will I get nothing done, tell you. So this one is 7, and it needs to be 4. And this one is 4, and it needs to be 5. And this one is 5, but it needs to be 6. And this one is 6, and it needs to be 7. Alright. That I can save. There we go. Actually, I'll open all these because I need to grab the main. Need to grab the skeleton of each one. Let's turn these. I guess I'll do them in order. My original thought process was I wanted one to be at origin, which is 0, 0, 0, instead of being out here. And I kept flipping numbers in my head to make sense to that, but that doesn't make sense at all. And then the pages. Let's turn off all other pages. Alright. So these 2 pages and this guy. Actually, let me do, say this is 2, and I'll do underscore. Yeah, okay. It's already set to frig. Okay. Joint hierarchy, closest and distance. We will do. I think closest and distance will be fine. We don't need heat map for this. Classic linear is okay. Do I want 5 influences or 3 influences? I'll do 5 because I'm going to subdivide this, I think. Like, I may be better off subdividing before, but I can do a displacement subdivision at render time, so I think it'll be okay. So let's apply that. Okay. And if I want to turn the page, I've got this. And if I want to have any lag on the page, then as I turn, I would get the next in line. And I can do it like that. No, I grabbed way too many. Alright, so I can have some flex in there, and that should be fine. Okay, so page 1 is good. Page 2. Let's turn page 1 off, and we'll turn off the page itself. And we'll get page 2 on, and we'll get page 2 for this one. Let's get the hierarchy and the contents. And we'll bind that. I trust that that's probably fine. So far, so good. So 3. And those. That works. Yeah. So those and 4. Let's turn that on, just make sure it works. Let's turn 2's skeleton. Close that one. We just did 3, right? And we did 4 just a second ago. Close 4. Turn on 5. Get the pages and 5. That works. This isn't quite as tedious as a person, but, well, it is less tedious than a face rig, I will say that. Ian, would you agree? That's what you guys have been doing, right? Let's turn that on so I can see it, and then that works. Okay. 6, we'll turn that off. Page 7 is on. And then we'll get this skeleton, those, and then bam. Okay. Oh, that's fun. So for the rig for this, I'm thinking of doing little tabs on the end. I can just pull the tab to open the book. That'll get me the widget. Okay, let's turn on page 1. And I do need the page 1 skeleton that will be needed. And then for my control, how do I want to do my controls? Let's do curves and make a, I'll make a little square. And I'll dress it up a little bit by just kind of curving it. Yo. What's up?
I've had Xanax and Valium and extra painkiller. I've eaten my feelings. I put on like a comforting, boring movie, and nothing's working. Can you come give me scratches in hopes I can be sick?
Okay.
Appreciate you greatly.
Be there in a minute.
Let me continue.
Yep. I don't know how I want this to look, but I guess that'd be good. This thing needs to be centered, and I will center it. The grid about there actually is perfect, and then the handle for that is going to be in line with here. So that looks good there, and let's hit the D key. Grab that middle handle and pop it over here. Oh, I did it bad. Hold on. Let me make sure it's anchored to the center. So if I grab this, I should be able to move each page, and I can actually offset however much I want this to be. So before I even rig it up, I think I'll just do one for each page, and then figure out the spacing, and then adjust. I'm going to do these real quick, and then I have to go, because she's not feeling well. So this will be page 1, control. And then I'll do a page 2, control. Okay, so what I did for the previous book, I might be just fine if I V-snap that here. And then on this, I'll just V-snap these in line with that. If I turn both controls on, there should be a gap between them. There is. Now, it's not a huge gap, but there is a gap. I don't know if I should like offset each one, but really you're not going to be able to open one until you open the other. What I could do on the hierarchy is make it so that if I grab page 3 controls, upward, page 2, page 1, and however not. This one, and then I'll do this one. Page 3. Let's go ahead and hide the controls for 2 and 1. I'll get 3. Let's V-snap the control. That's good. And then I'll get this. Now, kind of show you what I'm going for, because I have to hop off. Of course, you always freeze your controls, so I'll freeze those. And what I would do, ultimately, is to get these on. There we go. So control 1 will go to that one. And then for now I'll just do an orient constraint and I'll keep it pinned. And then 2 to 2. And then 3 to 3. Whoops, I did the wrong order on that one. 2 is correct, 1 is correct. Okay. And then if I grab a handle, that gives me direct access. Oh, I should turn the page on. Like that. And I can grab the next handle. And of course I gotta do some stuff so I can make the pages bend, but that's the general idea. Let me turn page back on. And the nice thing about the controls being 0 is I can just set it back to 0 to find its home position. So I do have to do the other 3, but I'm going to go make her feel less uncomfortable. She's having a bit of a panic attack. So, all right, thank you for joining me. I'll catch you.